Human trafficking and sexual exploitation are big problems in our community and beyond. Women and young girls are often targeted, and the risk is greater because of the internet and social media. The EmpowerMen project is a local organization that hopes to raise awareness among men and boys about the issue, how to recognize it, and even help tackle the problem. Joining us now is the project manager at EmpowerMen, Hennes Doltze. Good morning, Hennes.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us. Now, this is a 3.5-year project supported by Mama Way. Tell us a little bit about what began it all and what you do every day.
Sure. So Mama Way has a long history of working in the field of anti-exploitation and addressing trafficking, particularly trafficking of Indigenous women and girls. And so it has always been a strong focus of the work. And then about 3.5 years ago, we wanted to start something that would engage men and boys in this topic as well. Unfortunately, men and boys make up most of the perpetration of the trafficking. So we feel like men can play a bigger role in providing solutions. So we do a number of different workshops in schools, we do some research, we do community trainings, and it's really about advancing the conversation around these kinds of topics, particularly amongst men and boys.
How big of a problem is it in this community and beyond?
I think it's a problem in any community, not just a large city problem, right? Sometimes people think, oh, it's a big city problem, Toronto or Winnipeg, but I think it happens in smaller communities as well. There was a case last year in Portage la Prairie, for example. So I think it impacts a lot of communities, and particularly with the rise of social media and the internet, it has become easier for predators to use those tools, and so if somebody has a phone and internet, which a lot of kids now do, I think the risk just increases regardless of where you're at. Okay,
so by giving men and young men and boys the tools to recognize this, how is that going to tackle it? Because you say that more commonly they are the perpetrator.
Correct. So we have historically focused, rightfully so, on how do we protect vulnerable people, how do we help people move forward when they've been in that trafficking situation, and we want to tackle this and say men and boys can do better. We can be part of the solution, and I think we should be. It has to do a lot with how we sometimes are raised as men and boys, right? Like what kind of messages we get around relationships and those kinds of things. So we feel strongly about that, emphasizing that, because we feel, most people don't want to actively harm somebody, right? But they may not know all of the circumstances that somebody is in, right? So that's the focus that we have.
So there's a film that you're airing at the Canadian Museum for Human Rights, and it's all about giving information on some of the survivors and sharing that with men, right? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we host an event on October 1st at the Canadian Museum for Human Rights, and we will show a documentary called Butterfly, Into the Maze of Human Trafficking, which is a Canadian-produced film, and it follows 3 survivors in Manitoba, Alberta, and BC. And it's really a compelling story around survivor leadership, but also hearing survivor stories. There's also some advocates in the movie. Police officers are interviewed, and I think it captures really in a very compelling way how this issue affects communities, but also how resilient people can be. So we are going to show the documentary, and then we're going to have a panel discussion with the producer, with one of the survivors, and one of the advocates that's in the movie. Myself will be on the panel as well, and we want to have those conversations with the audience. And
you're encouraging young men and families to register young men?
Absolutely, yeah. It's really open for anybody. Again, the focus is on men and boys, but I think anybody can learn from this movie, and it's very easy, accessible. There's no cost to the movie. Starts at 6 o'clock on October 1st, so people can register through our website, and we're just excited to welcome people there for those important conversations.
Any last messages for people watching right now?
Come to the movie. I think it's going to be a powerful evening, and we're excited to see everybody there.
Thank you, Hennes.
Thank you.
Community Connection is brought to you by Mr. Reuter Plumbing. Born to be a hero, trained to be a plumber.